Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Live Your Spa Life show. Spa life is a lifestyle that accepts that accomplishment and harmony coexist. The Spa and Spa Life, the SPA, is for seek power always, that power within you to do your deeper work in the world. I am so thrilled to introduce my special guest today, Leisa Reid. Now, I love how she has this perspective because some of you may already be going, well, I'm not a speaker. Well, you are a speaker and you want to tune in, and we're going to talk to you about why you are. Because whether you are a speaker or not, there's no doubt that we all have expertise that we can leave an impact in the world once it's shared. Key being once it's shared, you got to get it out there, right? So as the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, Leisa mentors business professionals and entrepreneurs who want to make an impact and ultimately attract their ideal clients through speaking, right? Speaking is the bottom line here. And as a speaker herself, Leisa successfully booked and delivered over 500 speaking engagements. In case you were driving and you didn't hear that, I didn't say 5, I didn't say 50, I said 500. So this girl knows what she's talking about. She's passionate about training speakers in varying levels of expertise, messages, and niche markets. She believes that having a great foundation, a solid network, and a proven strategies can help you propel your speaker self into actualizing your potential. Leisa, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Diane, for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, me too. I'm so excited to have you here. And, you know, I love this part about actualizing your potential. And I'd love for you to speak on how being a speaker and stepping into the speaking arena helps you actualize your potential.
It really does, because you're able to share something that's personal to you or your own expertise that you've probably been studying for maybe decades, or you've practiced, you've been helping all these people. But when we start to scale, like instead of going from one to one to one to many and really broadening who we are, we're making a bigger impact in the world. And to me, that's like where that's what it's all about. Like, how can I be empowered and empower other people? It's the ripple effect approach, which I strongly believe in. Like, you never know who's going to be affected by your message, but maybe they just needed to hear that thing that you said today, or you solved a big problem that they had, or whatever. So to me, it's very powerful.
Yeah, it's so huge. And, you know, we all have a story. Like, there's something that is so unique about us. I mean, a lot of times we think, well, oh, everyone knows that, or everyone's heard that, but how you deliver it and what you do and your experience of it, it's just like this whole mixture of all of it, which makes you unique in your speaking and who it is that you're being. And I think really being who it is that you're being really impacts who you are in the world and your impact that you are going to have. And I know that, you know, part of designing your life versus living by default is who you are being. And I know you have some very specific things that you do to elevate your personal development, how you wake up in the morning. I'd love for you to share some of those principles of, you know, how you are designing your life.
Yeah, I love, so one of the things I started doing this a few years ago, I love hitting snooze. Okay. So I'm a snooze button kind of lady. I just love I like staying up really late. And so getting up in the morning with an alarm isn't always my favorite thing. But one thing that I love about snoozing my button is that it's now an indicator for me to be grateful. So I hit the snooze button, which I'm totally fine with. And it's like, okay, it gives me a moment to, right? It's like, I'm not quite awake, but I'm not quite asleep. I'm in that halfway point. And I just think of, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Even if it's like, I'm grateful I have a bed. I'm grateful I have blankets and a roof over my head. And I just think about, I'm grateful for how warm I am or how cool I am, depending on what time of year it is. And I get into that space. For me, it's a couple of things. I want to do it before either my eyes open or before my feet hit the floor. So it's just that act of gratitude that every single day you're going to wake up, right? So hopefully you don't wake up, then you have bigger problems. But it's just a way to have a ritual of gratitude every single day. for
I
me.
love how you've tied that in with that. In fact, I kind of see a micro business here where you get gratitude stickers and put it over the snooze, and it's now the gratitude button. It's like hit the
You get a
gratitude
sticker,
button.
you get a sticker, you get a sticker.
We win.
Everybody gets a sticker.
I love it. Oh my God, that's so fun. I love that so much. Now, you are in your 7th year
Yep.
of a year-long program.
Yeah.
Now, is this something you do in conjunction with someone else? Is it something you do on your own? I want to hear about this, sister.
That is what I do with, so I also am a speaker and trainer for Productive Learning, personal transformation company. We specialize in self-mastery, and I lead workshops for them. We lead over 40 a year. And one of them is, so some of them are weekends or trips, like women's retreats, different things throughout the country. But one of the formats is called a year long, and you take one topic. Like right now we're in, we just finished Life by Design, and we're doing extraordinary relationships now. So it's like you take a year to focus on your relationships, and I'm with the same people for that year. We meet once a month, and it's not just really like a lot of times people are think, oh, relationship with, oh, I'm not in a relationship, or I'm whatever. We have relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
But we also have a relationship with ourselves. So it's like, oh, what's that relationship with myself like? So it's getting into exercising that muscle. So each year we do a different topic, and this year it's extraordinary relationships.
I love that. That is so great. I mean, it's so important to really choose, like, what are you going to focus on? And so many times we want to be like, well, I'm going to focus on everything. And it doesn't mean you can't have other things that you do in that, but to have one just laser thing that you're just going deep on and really looking at that makes such a huge difference. And, one of the things that you really shift, I want to say that you do not necessarily differently, but that is an extreme focus that in how you do it is different, is that you are actively changing, how you are improving yourself. And so, how is that different from you teaching it to other people and embodying it and doing it in your own life? How are you being active in that?
How am I being active? Well, I think it's funny. I'll go back to the year-long concept. One year we did a year-long on conscious choices. And a lot of times I think people think that they're making conscious choices, but I know, and that that's not the case, right? A lot of times most of the time, 99% of the time, making unconscious choices, right? With our non-cognitive thinking. And so having that year to really think of like, how do I make choices? How do I make choices? What do I want? And I'm backing up because I'm like, oh, I haven't talked about this in a while. For me, it comes down to, what do I want to do? What choice do I want to make?
Yeah.
Not what should I make, or should I do, or what sounds good, or what I think, it's no, what would I want to do? What would I be really comfortable committing to? Because I don't want to do something and then not do it, like put something on your calendar and then you ignore it. Right. I don't want to be like that. So it's like, where's my hard line? And I think that's what you have to decide as an individual. Like, what's my hard line? What am I really committing to, and why? And what am I willing to choose instead of what should I be doing? I think that's a very empowering place to be.
Absolutely. So many times I do a lot of calendar work with people in terms of how they're like organizing their life. And it's so important. So many people refer to things on their calendar, things that they have to do. Like, I have to do this and I have to do that. And people will tend to make decisions in all different areas of their life based on that have to. And when we have that realization, and I love this about that active conscious thinking, because when you bring that awareness, then you can do something about it. You can actually shift it. And then it becomes, what do you get to do? And coming from that place about, you mentioned, what do you want to do? And sometimes just giving yourself permission to step into the possibility of that. And maybe it will or won't happen in this moment. But if you're moving in that direction and you're talking about it and you're coming from that place, it's such an empowering thing. In fact, you had talked about one of the disempowering things is when you agree to do something that you don't want to do. So speak a little bit about that, where that, maybe even an example of that, where that's come up for you, where how that makes you feel, how it's affected you, and how you now do it differently.
Well, one of the things I did was one of the choices that I wanted to make was how I ate differently. And I wanted to actually eliminate some choices from my for myself because I don't always choose what's best for me. And so a couple months ago, my husband and I decided to hire someone to cook. He doesn't come to our house and cook. He prepares meals, right, in a healthy way that are a certain amount of calories and fat and protein and whatever.
Right.
And they're pre-selected, and then he delivers them to our house, and we have it's like 7 meals each. So 7 of my lunches and dinners are already planned for me. So
Nice.
that took out the choice. For me, I was conscious about, I want to take out the choice of me going to the grocery store and picking what I was going to have. And then not only picking it, but then cooking it, and then deciding how much of that was I going to eat, because that is not my strong suit. Like especially if I'm really hungry, I want to eat just more, and I want to eat less healthy. You know what I mean? So I actually made a choice to eliminate part of my choices in the matter, because I knew I was going to delegate that choice to someone who's going to make a better decision for me.
Right. I love how you took something that was disempowering with that and how you could change how you were doing it to make it empowering.
Yeah.
You know, because one of my mentors talks about when there's so many choices, there becomes like this, it's decision fatigue. Right?
Yes.
If you have to make so many different decisions, then you can be totally off track on what you're actually focusing on, because now you're 10 decisions down the line. Whereas if you make less decisions, or you create environments that allow you to have less decisions, then you can just go to those things, fuel up, and then move on to the next thing that you're doing, versus all these other decisions that are happening and impacting you in the way that they are. So I love that. In fact, another thing I love to say to people is that, especially when it comes to food, is you don't want to sleep with the enemy, right? Don't have it in the house, because if it's there, you're going to take it.
I know, right? Totally true. My daughter's the other day, she's like, I just want toast. I want bread. I'm like, there's no toast in this house. I love toast too. That's why there's no bread here.
Right. I always look at it as like, you're not never going to have it, but you actually have to drive and go somewhere and make a choice and then enjoy it, but not have it in your everyday life. So I love that. That happens. So now that we talked a little bit about disempowering, what about when you're fully in your power? Talk a little bit about flow and what that looks like.
Oh my gosh. For me, especially with helping speakers, I just actually just wrote a book, Get Speaking Gigs Now. I just wrote a book. It's out on Amazon. Yay. But one of the things that I absolutely love to do is help speakers get their talk ready to rock. And going back to what you were just saying, I'm pointing that way because like you're on that side. One of the things that I think speakers can get stuck on is like, oh, what should I talk about? I have so many things. I want to talk about this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And they get stuck with having to edit out all their expertise. And so I am really laser focused when I just listen to what they want to do, listen to what they're passionate about, and then get in the flow and be like, and I'm doing this because I type out what they're telling me, and a lot of times they'll just say back to me like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. That's so brilliant. I'm like, I know, because you said it. Like, I didn't say it. They think I said it because they're in their zone. Right. And they're just saying whatever's brilliant coming out, but they don't realize how brilliant it is until it's in typed format. They're like, oh my gosh, I love that title of that talk. Or, oh, is that a learning point for a talk? I didn't know that people would be interested in that. I'm like, no one knows what that is. So that's brilliant. So I love, love, love that. I just like putting it all together and like listening to them and putting their brilliance out onto paper is so that they can then go share it is my flow. That's my zone. I love it.
Well, and that's why I am such a proponent of people having mentors, consultants, being in a mastermind, like something, because, we can put our genius and support other people, but when it comes to unlocking our own, it's in us, and we can maybe say it or however, but to have somebody else like capture and just bounce it back to you and have that space created, I think is so powerful. I love that you do that and you have that. So for our listeners who are, are aspiring to be a seasoned speaker and wants to get on more stages, what's their first step?
Well, they can go to getspeakinggigsnow.com there's a button on there where they can get a free speaker assessment call with me. Happy to chat with any of your listeners and connect. You might just have some kind of random question about speaking. One guy asked me, he said, this is my topic and this is my genius, this is my expertise. Is this valuable? Like, would people want to know that? Like, do you think people would like want to hear that? I'm like, absolutely. After he told me what it was, I was like, yeah, I don't know anything about that topic, and that can make me money. I definitely think that's valuable. So sometimes it's just getting that validation or a plan. Like, it might be you're thinking, oh gosh, I want to be a speaker. So, okay, well, how many speaking engagements do you imagine yourself having this next year? What would that look like? Is that doable? Sometimes people say, is that a doable thing? I usually speak about 60 times a year, which is about 5 times a month. So if someone's like wants one speaking engagement a month, I think you could do that. You could sneeze and get a speaking engagement. Like, with my help, we could help you get that. Like that. It's possible. So like you can do it if you can. It's like cheesy, but like if you can believe it, you can achieve it. That's like,
right.
I definitely validate that dream.
Nice. I love this. So we know that one of the ways that you are being a positive disruptor in the world is bringing your work to the world, and I love this. I always hear about this book in a weekend. And is it like, was this process where they kind of pulled your genius out of you? And because, I mean, you've got decades of genius within you, and just choosing what angle you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and people can get into this whole like analysis paralysis about doing that. What was that process like for you, and what's your intention with the book?
Well, just like you were saying, Diane, where when you have someone who helps you frame something, and then you're like, for me, I love the plug and play. Like, do the stuff that I'm not good at, do the technical stuff, do the choices, make the choices for me. A friend of mine who helped me with this book, he designed the cover for me without my knowledge. Like, he's like, I didn't even know I was going to be quote unquote writing a book. He goes, hey, I think you should be writing a book. That was like on a Monday. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's going to be something I do one of these days. I've already written a book, but like this will be my second one. And so Thursday, he sends me my book cover, front and back, already designed. He's written the forward for me. He's got the whole thing templated out. He's got it on. I mean, like my jaw dropped, I swear. And he goes, so Friday, he's like, how's it going? Have you started? I was like, no, I haven't started yet. I had a speaking engagement all day Friday, this particular Friday. And so I said, I will do it Saturday. Now, this is like a very busy time of year, so I had other plans. But when I really thought about it, I go, is any of that other stuff as time sensitive as this is? And I'm like, no, I can make it work. So I worked on it all day Saturday, half a Sunday, and it was done. 70 pages done. Because when you have someone who takes care of all the technical stuff and just says, here, just right here, focus,
download your head,
and you just go, it was like, it flowed, it was easy. And then I just ordered it on Amazon. I haven't even gotten it yet. It's like on the way. It's coming.
Oh,
yeah. So this was literally something I was not expecting, 2 weeks ago. And here it is done. So again, back to like the speaking thing, it's like, you don't have to wait. We just get stuck waiting, right? Like, oh, when this is perfect, and when my headshot, and when I lose 20 pounds, and when I'm blah, 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 all that. No, it's available to you when you have experts like yourself, experts like me. If you want to get your talk ready to rock, like we'll do it. And sometimes that's the scary part. Like, oh my gosh. So if I work with her, then my talk's going to be ready. Then I'm going to like have to go out and speak and get clients and make money. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Just do it. I love that. Just do it. Well, and and it's creating that environment. It's like you've got people in your life that are cheerleading for you, right? That are making that happen. And it's so important to really look at the different environments around us. In fact, one of the questions I love to ask, because environment is so important, is your physical environment. And you have different experience in your bedroom or your office or your kitchen. What's your favorite room in your home, and why?
I think it's, oh my gosh. That's a good question. I think it's my bedroom.
Yeah.
I love, you're going to like this because I know, my philosophy on my personal life is to live like I'm on vacation.
Yes.
And so I like things to be visually calming, visually something that I like, that I enjoy. Like, I don't buy something unless I really want it, to look at it or to touch it or to, you know, like to taste it. Like, I've just gotten to that point where I'm like, I just want what I want. And so, and I'm like looking around. So I'm like looking at my environment right now. That's such a good question. So I just like to surround myself with, you know, like the pillow that I want to have, the comforter that I want to have, how I want the bed to look, how I want it to feel, what I want in my nightstand. I want things to be easy. I like to have things organized so that when I open the drawer, I know I can just reach in and grab it. So it's like ease, flow. I think I learned that from Jack Canfield one time, where he's like, go through your house and just whatever's kind of like a little annoying or a little bugging you about your house, fix it. Just get it done and get it fixed. And so that way you're kind of that free energy flowing through.
Right, right. Because there's tolerations, right? There's tolerations if you've got, you know, something that's not working in your space or things that aren't inspiring you. And I love that analogy of like you were at a resort or, you know, on vacation and you would walk in the door. What would your expectation be? Like, what would you want it to be and how would it actually feel? And I love how you talk about textures too, right? You know, certain like, why would you have a blanket that's scratchy, right? Or that you,
or sheets, right? You know, it's like you're going to sleep on the sheets every night, every night. Don't wait to go to a hotel to enjoy your sheets. Have the sheets you want.
Absolutely. And it's better to have less. Like if you had one set that was amazing,
totally.
You don't need 20 that aren't.
Or even to me, Diane, it's even about like shower gel. I'm like, I am very, like, I want it. I'm going to sound so high maintenance on here, but it's just, when I smell it, I want to make sure like it's that pure, it's, it's not like even that expensive, but it's got that pure essential oil smell to it, like real, not synthetic. And I love that. So then when I'm in the shower, I'm like, oh, this is so amazing, this smell, and I'm calm and I feel like I'm on vacation. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I routinely go room to room and I look at, okay, is this thing enhancing my life or is it taking away? And a lot of times, I actually love that you mentioned about the shower gel, because so many times people don't realize the things that are in there are actually just like one thing, one ingredient can actually impact your health.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't think about that, especially something that you put on your body that is your skin that absorbs in. Sometimes you don't think about that. But if you have the choice of having like a pure ingredient that is well sourced, and I mean, have like something that's really great that will actually improve your life and your health, is such a huge thing, you know, and it's not to be overlooked. And those things, I believe, they impact who you're being. And coming back around to the whole speaking, it's like when you live who you are and what's true for you. I mean, you might like lemon and I like lavender, or, you know, I mean, there's just, we all have these different things, but that's what also adds up to make us unique in who we are. And that becomes part of our story and who we're being and how we're speaking. So what's one thing, I know you've got the 5 tips to getting started, but when someone's like really looking at, God, there's so many things that I could share about my life, how is it that people really hone down to what's that thing they should share?
Well, I actually start at the end first. So a lot of times people will want to start with the title, kind of like if you wrote a book, like they're like, I'm thinking of a title and this is it. And I'm like, well, have you written the book yet? Like, well, you may not know what the title is until you're already, you know, because it's going to emerge. So I start at the end first, and we talk about what is the point. Why are you up there speaking? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What's the purpose? And then we back it out from there. Yeah. So it's not that your life, it's not that you may have had like so many interesting things happen to you. You probably have, but you have a half an hour to talk. So they don't need to hear about your first grade teacher and this, unless your first grade teacher literally like changed your life and it serves the point that and the purpose that you're trying to get. So I think that's where having a plan is really important, and time management too on stage. Like you need to know, okay, this story takes about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or, oh, I'm going to lead them through an activity and that's going to take this much time. But it all has a purpose. And that's where the intention of your talk is actually really the point.
Right.
What is your intention? And you have to have a plan. When people come to me and they're like, oh, I can speak about anything, I just wing it. I'm like, why would you do that? No, unless someone literally handed you the microphone and you didn't know.
Right.
That's
Sure.
different. That's good at being good on your feet. But if you knew you had a speaking engagement, I would never recommend winging it. You would want an intentional plan.
Right. Absolutely. That is just key. And I know people are going to want all the other tips that you have, and they're want to kind of stay connected with you and follow you. We will have all the links in the show notes, but I would love for you to give that again. Sure. So that they can jot it down.
Yeah, it's at Get Speaking Gigs with an S, getspeakinggigsnow.com, and you can get the 5 top tips to get speaking gigs now, and that'll come to your email. There's actually some bonus tips in there too. So you're welcome to have that. That is complimentary, my gift to you.
Perfect. And then what about your book? How can people get your book?
Oh my gosh. They can also get that on the website, and I'll have to check because literally this just happened. So I'm pretty sure it's available on the website right now. But if not, they can go on Amazon, and it's also called Get Speaking Gigs Now is the title on Amazon. And my name is spelled a little funny. I think it's on the video, but in case you're only listening and you're not seeing us, my name is Leisa and then Reid. 2 EIs in there. EI. Oh, just kidding.
It's a good way to remember it.
There's no O in it.
I love it. So good. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your wisdom and being here today. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And my final thought is decide one thing that you want to be intentional about today, whether it's for you or for somebody else.
Perfect. I love that so much. And I just love that our listeners are giving their most important resources, their time, in being here with us. We so appreciate you being here. We would love for you to share what's something that you learned. What is that intentional thing that you're going to do differently? And I would love to have, no matter what platform you're listening to, put in some of the comments, a question that you have. Make sure you tag both Leisa and myself. We're happy to answer any questions and to support you. And one of the ways that you can really support and get the word out on the show is to subscribe to it. And if you found value here today, we would love your 5-star rating and to put a review. Put in there, what are you learning here? What's something you'd like us to talk more about and to share, because community is how we all lift each other up. It's how we stand in our power, and it's how we make an impact in the world. So I want to thank you so much for all being here. And until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now. See ya.